Pokemon come in all shapes and sizes, and genres. Yes, that's right, there are genres of Pokemon out there. What I mean by this is that there are specific groups of Pokemon that exist within the larger national Pokedex, like for instance, starter Pokemon, legendary Pokemon, mythical Pokemon, but then you even also have things like the regional bird, bug, and rodent. There are specific, distinct groups like this that kind of define the kinds of Pokemon we get, and also define what the Pokemon we end up getting actually look like, more or less. And that is what I wanted to talk about in this video. In this video, I am going to be ranking every genre of Pokemon that I could think of anyway, from worst to best in my own opinion. Now, since there's no definitive list on how many genres of Pokemon there are and what they are specifically, this is all based on my own observation, and I could have missed something, so if I do, let me know in the comments below. But with that being said, I have identified 28 distinct genres of Pokemon that I am going to be using for the rankings in this video, and personally, I've never really seen Pokemon ranked this way before, so I'm really excited to get into this, and for good measure, I'm also going to be giving each ranking a tier list ranking as well, just to give you guys a better idea of how I really feel about each of these groups of Pokemon. With all of that being said though, let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so starting us off at the bottom of the rankings at number 28 is Pokemon that carry objects. I really despise Pokemon that carry objects around with them as part of their design because honestly it just makes no sense. The objects in question aren't a part of the Pokemon's design, so you really expect me to believe that every single member of a species of Pokemon carries around the exact same object? It just is a really stupid concept in my opinion, and the Pokemon that make up this category, like Zacian and the Timber family and Rillaboom, all kinda suck in my opinion. In fact, there's not really a single Pokemon that I can think of that belongs to this category that I don't really dislike, with the exception of like Kadabra and Alakazam and Cubone. Those guys are cool, but the rest of these kinds of Pokemon kinda suck, which is why this category also gets the F ranking. I really don't like it at all. Moving on from there though, we make a huge step up because we come to the regional rodents. Now, the regional rodents get a C ranking, which shows you just how high up everything else is in my opinion compared to Pokemon that carry objects, but in general, the starting rodents are just okay. I really don't dislike any of them for the most part, but they don't really wow me either. I would say Sentret and Furret are by far the best, but then the rest are kind of just, whatever, they're okay, and that's kind of what they're supposed to be, but they're also still kind of just okay, whatever anyway, so that's why they are at the lower end of this list. Moving up from there though, at number 26, are Pokemon that are just multiples of their pre-evolution. Now, these guys get a C ranking as well, but they're on the lower part of the list because they're just multiples of their pre-evolution. This would include Pokemon like Dugtrio, Magneton, and Vanillux, and while those Pokemon are solid enough in their own way, the concept in general just isn't really that creative. And cracking the top 25, even though that doesn't really mean anything for this particular ranking, are the Ultra Beasts. The Ultra Beasts get a C+ tier ranking because they are a little bit above the regional rodents and the Pokemon that are just multiples of themselves, but they're not really that much higher. And the reason why, in my opinion, is because while the Ultra Beasts have a pretty cool concept, I don't feel that that concept was really executed that well. A lot of the Ultra Beast designs are just kinda wonky, weird, and borderline stupid in my opinion, and I do realize they're supposed to look different and weird because they're aliens, but I just feel like they took that too far and just kind of made it a little too weird for me to really like them as Pokemon. So that's why the Ultra Beasts sit lower, and that's why they only get a C+. Up above the Ultra Beasts are the feminine grass types of every region. Now, this is a particular genre that you may or may not have noticed, but it's one that's existed in pretty much every single generation. This would include Pokemon like Roselia, Lilligant, Serena, and Eldegoss most recently in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, these guys, or should I say girls, are on the lower end of this ranking, but that doesn't mean I dislike them, because they also get a B tier list ranking, meaning that they are perfectly average or maybe even a little above that. Most of the members of this group I really enjoy, and there's none of them that are really offensive to me or that I actively dislike. There's just a lot of other genres of Pokemon that I like a lot more, hence why they're a little bit lower. And the first of those that I like a little bit more are the regional bugs. Now, the regional bugs, like the rodents, are pretty basic, so you can't really expect much of them, but they do also get a B tier list ranking because some of them are actually really cool. I love Ladybug and Ladyann, they're my favorite bug types of all time, and recently the regional bugs have also got a lot cooler with entries like Vikavolt and Orbeetle. I particularly love Orbeetle's pre-evolution blip bug because it's a freaking bookworm. How can you not adore this thing? Up above the regional bugs are the regional birds, which makes the birds my favorite of the Route 1 Pokemon. Now, similar to the bugs, there aren't really any of the birds that I actively dislike or anything like that. I think they're all at the very least solid, and there are some that I really enjoy, like Pidgeot or Fletchling or Talonflame or even Staraptor, even though I used to hate it. I also really enjoy Hoot Hoot as well, because I mean, he's a round boy, what's not to love? So overall, this group of Pokemon is just really solid, and like the regional bugs, they also get a B tier list ranking. Almost cracking the top 20 at number 21 are the Humanoid Pokemon. Now, this group of Pokemon is kinda divisive because there are some terrible members of it, like Sock and Throw and the Forces of Nature. Good lord, are these Pokemon bad. However, there are also a bunch of really cool Pokemon in this category, like for instance Machamp and Gallade and Gardevoir. So you get a little bit of a mixed bag with the human-like Pokemon, but because they do have some really good members to them, that gets them a little bit higher, and it also gets them the solid B tier list ranking. And actually making the top 20 are alien Pokemon, or Pokemon that are from outer space. The main thing that these guys have going for them is that they have a really cool concept in that they're not from the Pokemon world, they're literal aliens. But also, this group of Pokemon just have a bunch of really solid designs. You have classic alien Pokemon like Deoxys and Jirachi, but then you have some cool standard ones like LGM and Behem, Solrock and Lunatone, Minior, and even surprise ones that you don't really think about like Starmie and Clefairy. There's just a bunch of really solid designs in this category and none that I really find offensive or dislike, which is why they also get the B ranking. Up next at number 19 is a group that is pretty similar to the alien Pokemon, and that would be man-made Pokemon. Now, similar to the aliens, the main appeal of this group is their concept. The fact that they are artificial Pokemon that were created by humans is really cool, and from there, the Pokemon themselves that comprise this group are all pretty solid. You obviously have all-time classics like Mewtwo, but there aren't really any other members of this group that I actively dislike. I wouldn't necessarily say they're my favorite, obviously, but there's none that I really hate. They're all just pretty solid, which is why they also get that solid B ranking. At number 18 are the Payoff Pokemon. Now, this group is pretty small because I'm pretty sure it only consists of 3 families: the Magikarp family, the Feebas family, and the Ducklet family. The idea of these Pokemon is that they kinda really suck in their first forms, but then once they evolve, they become these super strong, super beautiful, super cool Pokemon that made the training of the super weak first form actually worth it. The reason why I put Ducklet and Swanna in this category, by the way, is because they are based on the story of the Ugly Duckling, which is pretty much the whole concept of this category of Pokemon, and the only real reason why they are lower on the list is because there's so few members. The concept itself is awesome. I love the idea of a Pokemon that gives you a big reward for actually taking the time to raise it with its evolution, and obviously Gyarados and Milotic are freaking incredible. There just aren't really enough members of this group in my mind. I felt like I could only rank them so high even though they are really cool, which is why they also get the solid B ranking. At number 17 is a rather infamous group of Pokemon, and that would be Pokemon based on inanimate objects. This is probably the most divisive and controversial group of Pokemon that there is, because this is where people go when they like to hate and criticize on Pokemon designs and talk about how bad they've gotten recently. And although those criticisms are mostly a bunch of junk, there are some object-based Pokemon, I will admit, that are pretty bad. However, there's also a bunch that are really good, so similar to the Humanoid Pokemon group, this group of Pokemon is a bit of a mixed bag in my opinion, which is why it is able to reach the lower mid-tier, but not really go past that, and it's also why I give it the overall solid B ranking. At number 16 is a group of Pokemon that can barely be considered a genre, but there is a significant number of them, so I thought they were worth including, and that would be Pokemon with closed eyes. This would include Pokemon like Maboy, Cyndaquil, as well as Snorlax, Makuhita, Torkoal, Relicanth, Gloom. Overall, a pretty solid group of Pokemon. The only real reason why I didn't rank them any higher is because, like I said, they're barely a legitimate genre, but I would say a genre nonetheless, which is why they get this mid-tier ranking and why I also put them in the B tier. Coming in at number 15, we are finally going to get out of all of those B rankings and give our first B plus ranking, and that would be to the Pikachu clones. Now, I know there are people out there that don't really like the Pikachu clones that much, but in my personal opinion, I think they're pretty great. I really like the concept of a Pikachu variant, if you will, being present in every generation, and it's just something that's really fun to look forward to with every new generation that we get. Not to mention that most of the Pikachu clones, and especially recently, have been amazing. Morpeko is awesome. Don't even get me started on Togedemaru and his roundness, and Dedenne is pretty cool too, not to mention Emolga all the way back in Generation 5. There's just a bunch of really cool Pokemon here, which is why I decided to give them the B plus ranking. And now we're starting to get into more of the heavy hitters, because we're now officially halfway through the list at number 14, and at number 14 we have food Pokemon. Food Pokemon are another one of those groups that people like to poke fun at and criticize, but the truth of the matter is, there are a lot of amazing Pokemon that are based on food. There's Pokemon like Slurpuff, Vanillite, Cherubi, and then you've also got a bunch of brand new ones that were just introduced in Gen 8, like Alcremie, Poltegeist, and my personal favorite, Appleton. Overall, I think this is a really, really good group of Pokemon, despite being based on food and some of the criticisms that comes with that, which is why they also get the B plus tier as well. At number 13 is a rather memey group of Pokemon, and that would be the not a dragon Pokemon. You know, like Charizard, who is definitely not a dragon, Gyarados, who is also definitely not a dragon, Pokemon like that. Those would also be the two main members of this group. I'm sure there's others that you could put in here as well, but those are definitely the flagship mascots of this genre, and they're just kind of funny, obviously. It's a joke type of thing. And because the Pokemon that comprise it are pretty stinking cool, they also get the B plus tier. At number 12 is a group of Pokemon that I'm actually kind of surprised to see is in this particular spot on the list, and that would be Trade Evolutions. Now, the reason why I'm surprised to see them at number 12 is because I'm not really a fan of Trade Evolutions, or at least the concept of Trade Evolutions. I know it's integral to the series and its success and everything like that, but I was never a fan of this concept because it prevented me from getting a lot of Pokemon that I would have really enjoyed using, and still does to this day. I just don't want to deal with having to trade a Pokemon to someone and then getting it back just so I can use it, and back in the day, I didn't even have that option, so this concept barred me from using a bunch of really cool Pokemon, which is why I'm not really a fan, but I cannot deny that the Pokemon that comprise this group are, for the most part, absolutely amazing. You have all-time classics like Gengar, Machamp, Alakazam, Scizor, and Steelix. You have more modern ones like Electivire and Porygon Z, and Gourgeist and Trevenant from Gen 6. There are just so many Pokemon that evolve via trade that are absolutely awesome, which is why this particular group got so high on the list, even though I'm not really a fan of the concept itself. At number 11 are Pokemon that used to be human. Now, similar to some of the other genres on this list, the concept is what really sells this particular group. The idea that humans can eventually become Pokemon themselves is just so fascinating, and the way they have done that in the series itself is amazing, particularly with the ghost types. You've got Pokemon like Phantom, who is a dead child that got lost in the forest and inhabited a tree stump. Are you kidding me? And then of course there's Yamask, who carries around a mask of its face from when it was a human and sometimes looks at it and cries. These kinds of Pokemon are so cool, not only for their background, but because they also bring a little bit of maturity, a little bit of darkness, a little bit of edge to the Pokemon series that I think it really benefits from. So I think these Pokemon do a lot for the series as a whole, in addition to being really cool, which is why they are as high as they are, and it's also why they get placed in the A- tier as well. We have officially entered into the top 10, and coming in at number 10 are road blocking Pokemon. Now, believe it or not, this was an actual genre of Pokemon for a while, but as of right now, it only consists of 3 members: Snorlax from Gen 1, Sudowoodo from Gen 2, and Kecleon from Gen 3. For whatever reason, this is a type of Pokemon that Game Freak stopped making after Generation 3, and I think it's a real shame, because not only is each one of these Pokemon pretty cool in their own right, but also the concept itself is just really charming and interesting, and I think added a lot to those first 3 generations. It just kind of added an interesting layer to the gameplay that hasn't really been present that much in games after Gen 3, and the possibilities for what new road blocking Pokemon could be like are practically endless, which is why I think it's a shame that they've stopped doing these Pokemon, and it's why I think they're so great, even if there's only a few of them, which is why they also get an A- tier ranking. At number 9 are fossil Pokemon, and fossil Pokemon almost don't even need an explanation. Prehistoric Pokemon that you can bring back to life via their fossils and add to your team? What is not to absolutely love about that? This is also something that has been done in almost every single generation, so there are now a pretty good roster of fossil Pokemon to look at, and pretty much all of them are pretty cool in their own way. You've got the classics like Kabuto and Ammonite and Aerodactyl, and you've got more recent ones that are awesome, like Amara, my personal favorite, as well as the Galar fossils, which are kinda goofy to say the least, but they have a really cool concept going for them. They are a staple of Pokemon games at this point, and overall, I also have placed them in the A- tier. At number 8, we have another rather small group of Pokemon, and that would be what I am referring to as the Furbate Pokemon. This is a group that, as far as I'm aware, only has 3 members, but they are a very, very significant trio of Pokemon that are very, very significant in their own individual regions. This would consist of Lucario, Zoroark, and Toxtricity. This is a genre of Pokemon that seems to have been started with Lucario in Gen 4, and they generally consist of a 2-stage family that essentially act as kind of like a mascot of their respective region, which obviously goes for Lucario in the Sinnoh region, and then that was followed up almost identically with Zoroark in the Unova region. And this is very much also the case for Toxtricity in Galar as well, which is why we can definitely identify a trope and a specific genre of Pokemon that is being established here. And they also have one other characteristic in common, and that is that their designs tend to be kinda fur-baity. However, despite the Furbate, and despite the very low number of Pokemon that make up this group, the Pokemon themselves are phenomenal. Lucario is obviously one of the most popular Pokemon of all time, and the same kind of appeal can also be said for Zoroark and Toxtricity as well, which is why this particular group gets as high as they do, and it's why they also get an A-tier ranking. Coming up next at number 7 are the Is a Dragon Pokemon. We obviously talked about the Not a Dragons before, so we gotta talk about the Pokemon that don't really seem like they should be dragon type at all, yet for some reason or another, they all get the dragon type. This would be Pokemon like Alolan Executor, 10% Zygarde form that is just a dog. You also have Applin, you have Ampharos, you have Goomy. Pokemon like this that really have no business being dragons, but are for some reason, and you know what? I absolutely love that. These Pokemon are definitely no slouches in the design department, and a bunch of them are some of my more favorite Pokemon ever, which is why it was kind of a no-brainer for them to get this high, and for me to place them in the A tier. Just edging out the dragon, non-dragon Pokemon are, finally, legendary Pokemon. It goes without saying that these Pokemon were going to be pretty high on the list because they are one of, if not the most iconic group of Pokemon in the entire series. There's obviously a ton of Pokemon that make up the legendary group, and most of them are pretty awesome. Every once in a while you do get a dud, but for the most part, legendary Pokemon, both lore-wise and design-wise, are really, really cool, which is why they absolutely earned the number 6 spot on my list, and it's why they also earn the A ranking. And now, we have finally reached the top 5, and kicking off this illustrious group of Pokemon at number 5 are mythical Pokemon. Now, it makes sense that mythicals are a step up from legendaries in my rankings because rarity-wise, that's exactly what mythicals are. Pokemon that are so rare that it's not even known for sure if they exist at all. That is such a cool concept, and when it comes to the mythical Pokemon themselves, in the design department, they are pretty much all really awesome. I love the cuties like Mew, Celebi, Jirachi, and Shaman, but I also love the tough and cool ones too, like Darkrai and Deoxys and Zeraora and Volcanion. It's just such a great group of Pokemon, and that's not even mentioning all the cool lore that's tied to them, so they easily deserve this number 5 spot. Now you may be wondering, what could possibly be ranked above mythical Pokemon? Well, let me tell you, because at number 4 we have the pseudolegendaries. The pseudolegendary Pokemon are a tried and true group of Pokemon that have been around since the very beginning and have been represented in every single generation so far. The reason why they are above mythicals and even legendaries in my rankings is because the quality of this group as a whole is just so strong. While I really like some of those other groups we just talked about, there are some here or there that I don't like as much, but with pseudo-legendaries I pretty much like all of them, and some of them are just S tier in my mind in terms of their overall designs. I mean, you've got Dragonite, absolute home run. Tyranitar, absolute home run. You've got Garchomp, absolute home run. Dragapult, absolute home run. Goodra, the home runnest of all home runs. I think they call that a grand slam or something. Pseudolegendaries are just awesome in general, and the individual Pokemon themselves are phenomenal, which is why they get ranked above the mythicals and legendaries, and it's why they also get an A tier. Coming in even above the pseudo-legendaries at number 3, although I'm kind of questioning that right now as I'm recording this, so maybe they're actually tied, I don't know, is baby Pokemon. Now, this might actually be somewhat of a controversial pick, because I know there are people out there that don't like the concept of baby Pokemon and think they're kind of wastes of Pokedex slots. However, to those people I say, do you just hate cuteness? Have you seen these Pokemon? How can you not adore them? They are the cutest little things imaginable, and their concept in general is really cool too. In just the same way that giving Pokemon evolutions is really cool, giving Pokemon pre-evolutions is really awesome too, and it also serves a functional purpose because it gives you the opportunity to get some of these Pokemon a little bit earlier on in the game when you otherwise might have not been able to because they didn't have a form that preceded them that warranted them being placed in an early part of the game. They might not always get used like that, but nevertheless, they are adorable, they are so cute, and that is good enough for me, which is why they get the number 3 ranking, and it's also why I put them in the A tier. Coming in from the future, because I literally forgot about this next one and had to record it after the fact, are regional variants. For such a popular and awesome group of Pokemon, I don't know how I forgot them, but yeah, regional variants are obviously fantastic. While not every single one of them are ones that I necessarily like design-wise, most of them are beautiful in the design department, and obviously the concept is just chef's kiss, so there's no way that regional variants were not going to be this high, and thank goodness I actually remembered to include them in the video, and as far as a ranking goes, they get an A+. Coming in at the runner-up spot is something that you probably both expected and didn't expect at the same time, and that would be starter Pokemon. You probably all expected starter Pokemon to be very high on this list, but you might have not expected something to be ahead of them either, which we'll get to in a second. Starter Pokemon obviously go without saying though. They are great and phenomenal for the most part, and there are so many starter Pokemon that are just absolutely just god tier. I mean, heck, my favorite Pokemon, Cyndaquil, is a starter Pokemon. The one little thing, though, that holds this group back is that there are some starter Pokemon, amongst all their various evolutions and whatnot, that I'm not really a fan of. I love the group for the most part, and the concept that they employ, but there are some individual Pokemon in this group that I don't really like, which is why ultimately they ended up at the number 2 spot instead of number 1, but they do get placed in the A+ tier, so overall, I obviously love them. And finally, the moment you've all been waiting for, my number 1 pick, my personal favorite genre of Pokemon of all time is round Pokemon. I freaking love round Pokemon. They're obviously cute, but other than that, I don't really know what it is. Is it their sphericalness? Is it their squishy appearance? Is it the Pokemon themselves that make up this category? I really don't have all the answers as to why I love round Pokemon so much, but they are a weakness of mine. I love round Pokemon. You've got Spheal, you've got Rowlet, you've got Togedemaru, you've got the newly introduced Hisuian Voltorb, and we all know how adorable he is, and you can even technically sort of count Wooloo as a round Pokemon, and I think that goes without saying as well. Like I said, I don't really know what it is. This is something I only really recently noticed in the last few years or so, but I really really love round Pokemon, which is why they are my #1 pick. They're just so adorable and cute, and I just love them so much. And they also get the S tier ranking as well, because obviously, and so there you go. Yeah, round Pokemon are my favorite genre of Pokemon of all time. And there you have it, everybody. That was every genre of Pokemon, at least that I could think of, ranked from worst to best in my opinion. What did you guys think of this list? Are there any other genres I missed, and what are your personal favorite genres of Pokemon? Let me know down in the comments below, and leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already for more content. Also, if you would like to support the channel further, you can do so by listening to my Pokemon remixes on Spotify, as well as other streaming services. This immensely supports the channel and my ability to make videos right back here on YouTube, and it's also really easy because I'm sure you all like Pokemon music. So if you haven't checked that out yet, consider doing so, and if you already are, I really appreciate it. Honestly, thank you so much. With all of that being said though, I will be back with another video very soon, and until the next one, as always, thank you guys so much for watching, I love you very much, and I will smell you guys later.